2, 3, 4, 5. Those are hand curls to make my fingers stronger. That way I can be better at video games. All right, let's hop into math. Here we go. So today we are doing 8-7, which has more dot plots. And I'm going to make sure we do every single type of problem there is in this whole 8-7 today, because yesterday I messed up. So 8-7 starts on page 339, where it talks about range. 330, 340, where it talks about quartiles. 341, where it talks about finding quartiles. And 342, where we have my favorite guy, the puzzled penguin. Up at the very top here, I have got some definitions for you. So these are the definitions. Median is the middle number. Mean is where you add all the numbers up and divide by the amount. We're going to go over how to do that one more time today. The new word today is range. Oh, hold on, range. So you take the biggest number and the smallest number, and you subtract them, and you figure out how many numbers in between there are. So here we go. Copy back down in my handy dandy computer holder. And let's get started. All right. Let's try blue. Blue looks like a good color today. So the very first problem talks about two teammates, Jayla and Sophie. And they both are playing basketball. And then they're like counting how many points they had during games. So altogether, Jayla, this is Jayla, has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And Sophie has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games also. So they both played 10 games, but we're going to look at what their range is. So the first question is range, and a range is a set of numbers, and what's their range? So she scores between this much and this much. Now, Jayla always scores between 2 and 6. So what's her range? Well, her range is going to be the 4 numbers in between, because 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. You could also just get it by seeing that the lowest dot is on the 2, the biggest dot is on the 6, and how many numbers are there in between? 1, 2, 3, 4. So Jayla's range is 4. Now, if we come over to Sophie's range, we can see Sophie is probably not going to be on my basketball team because she's really inconsistent. But let's just take a look at what the math problem is and not make it about me missing sports a whole lot. And we're back. Just had something in my eye. Okay, so here we go. Her lowest number is 0. Sophie doesn't score very much sometimes. But her biggest number is 8. She went off that game. Her range is going to be anywhere from 0 to 8. So we just take 8 minus 0, and you get 8. Her range is 8. But you could also just count in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's her range. Okay? But you know where my range is? It's anywhere outside that 3-point line because I got range. Different kind of range. Okay, the next thing is it's asking us to find the mean. Now, mean is actually really important. The average. I just had to pick up another marker. I haven't figured out a way to get my markers all off the floor yet. So the mean is the hardest one to find. It's your average. And we're going to go ahead and calculate Jayla's average here. So here's how you do it. You take all of their data sets, you add them up to find the sum, and then you divide it by how many total numbers of data they had. So he had a 2, a 3, a 3, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 5, a 5, and a 6. Now you can't really see that, but I wrote all those numbers out from biggest to smallest because that's going to help us find our median later. Now I'm going to go ahead and add all those up. And since it's 2020, I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. So 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 equals 40 points. Then we're going to take the 40 points that she has and we're going to divide it by 10. Why am I going to divide it by 10? Because 10 is the amount of games she played. There are 10 total dots. That means she played 10 games. She kept track over 10 games. So 40 divided by 10 is divided by 10. 4. So her mean is 4. On average, Jayla scores 4 points per game. That's not too bad, especially for a sixth grade basketball team. I mean, she's no Anthony, but she's doing it. She's doing 4 points. Now, notice her mean or her average is also the same as her range. That won't always happen. In fact, that's pretty lucky. Let's go see what hers is. Now, I'm looking at this data and comparing the two graphs here, the dot plots, I could see that her average was probably going to be 4, right? It was probably always going to be 4. That's where she's mostly at. And if you cancel out these and these two cancel out, then all of her middles are in the 4. It's not median, it's just her average. But if I'm looking at Sophie's, there isn't really a place where I could tell what her average is going to be. So what we're going to have to do is actually do the math. She has 2 0 games, a 1-point game, no 2-point games, a 3-point game, a 4-point game, 1 5-point game, 2 6-point games, a 7-point game, and an 8-point game. Now, we're going to add all those up, once again, using my calculator. 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. And hers is also 40. Now we're going to divide that by 10. Why 10? Because that's how many games she had. Divided by 40 divided by 10 is 4. Now her average is also 4. Or her mean. Now they have the exact same one, but who would you rather have on your team? Somebody who's consistently scoring 4 or somebody who some nights doesn't even score at all, but some nights goes off and scores 8? That's a basketball question. The correct answer is you want both of them on your team because she's always consistently and sometimes she's going off. And when she's not going to perform well, she performs really well. Sorry, I just really, really miss coaching basketball. Okay, yeah, I'm back. It's okay. Men cry. All right, so the next thing that it's going to ask us to do is find their median. Remember, there are 2 ways to do that. You can do it with the dot plot or you can do it with the numbers, but they have to be in orders from smallest to biggest. Let's go ahead and do it on the dot plot again because I figure that most of you know how to do that. Here's how you do it. You cancel off smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. And so her median was right here on the 4. So her median is also 4. So right now, Jayla's range is 4, her mean is 4, and her median is 4. So Jayla is just a very consistent player. If we go over here to Sophie, we're going to have to probably find a different one, a different median. So her range is 8. Her mean or average was 4. Let's find her median. How do we do it? Take off one of the smallest, take off the biggest. Smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest. And now biggest. Because there was an even amount, remember it's going to be that her average was between the last two that we crossed off, which is right between 4 and 5. What's halfway between 4 and 5? You got it right. It is 4.5. So her range was 8. Her mean was 4, but her median is 4.5. Overall, Sophie's just really inconsistent, while you can look at Jayla and she's really consistent. So that's mean, median, and range. And that is all of page 339. You're welcome. You can go back and use that to do 338. And now we're hopping into what are quartiles? So let's do a little bit of a language dive here. Language dives with Lawhorn. The word quartile has what 4 letters in it that mean something? Q, U, A, R. And those letters also start the word quarter. So we can tell that since a quarter is 0.25 cents or 1/4 of a dollar, that what it's going to be looking for here is a fourth of your whole data range. Now, here's the cool part. This pretty much explained it all, but I'm bored and have nothing to do anyway. Just kidding. There's lots of things for me to be doing. I'm actually gifting you my time right now. But I'm going to go ahead and teach you what a quartile is anyhow. Here's how we're going to do it. We are going to look at, okay, so I'm using plot A off of page 341, okay? And here's how we're going to find the first quartile. Here we go. There is 11, 11, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, and a 1. Here's how you would find the quartile. The very first thing you have to do is find your median. So, first step, median. First step is find your median. How do you do that? You just cross things off. Do highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, high, low, high, low, high, low. And I know that my median, okay, is somewhere between 6 and 7. What's halfway there? 6.5. So my median here is 6.5. The next step that you need to do is you need to find the quartiles. Here's how you find the quartiles. You do exactly what you just did, except instead of taking your whole data range, you're just going to take half of your data range because you're looking for the median of your median. So if that's your median, and we're looking for the first quartile, the first fourth, we're just going to take this range. Look, we're using language we used up here, down here. Language dives with Lawhorn. And now you have between these ranges, and we can just start there. So take off the lowest, take off the highest, take off the lowest, take off the highest. Low, high, low, high. And my next quartile is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4, which is 3.5. Let's do it again, but this time we're going to find the third quartile. So that's your first quartile. Your median is technically your second quartile. And then your third quartile will be the quarter that's on this side. So here we go. Let's figure it out. Take off your lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest. And now your median or your quartile is somewhere in this 9 range. See how it just lined up directly over 9? It's not between 8 and 9. It's not between 9 and 10. It was between a 9 and a 9. What's halfway between 9 and 9? That's correct. It is 9. So on this one, the first quartile is 3.5. The next one is the median is 6.5, and the last quartile is 9. So first find your median, then you can start doing the median thing where you cross off high, low, high, low, high, low until you find the quartiles. And now you've figured out how to find median and quartile. That will set you up for plot A. Now it's your turn. You do plot B. And then go ahead and help my dum-dum friend, Mr. Puzzle Penguin here. I don't know why they chose a penguin. Penguins don't often find themselves doing math. Maybe that's why he's so confused. But go ahead and answer those questions, see what he's got. Remember a few key things when you're answering these. First of all, you need to make sure that you are finding your range by subtracting your biggest number that your data point sits on and your lowest number that your data point sits on to find range. Mean is the hardest one to find. You have to add up all of them, not just 2, 3, 4, 5, but 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6. Every single one, and then divide it by how many dots you have, how many sets of data you have, which in these cases would have been 10. And then lastly, to find the median, you know how? And then you just repeat that step, but on one half of it to find your quartile. Okay, this has been Gym Math with Lawhorn. Adios.